an attack. Attack of the spotlight. Watching movies every night. Attack of the spotlight. Yeah. Attack of the spotlight. Attack of the spotlight. Stop the bad guys and get the girl. Rad superhero saving the world. Get scared, get scared. Fight for your life. Stay away from the psycho dude with the knife. Everything go wrong that can go wrong, and it's funny as hell, make us laugh so long. Fall in love and start a romance. Grab your partner for this heartfelt dance. Underdogs coming for the win. Exorcists make your head spin. There's wise Jedis and dirty Klingons racing so fast, boy, you better hang on. Head back to the future, back to the past. Don't let them rowdy punks karate your ass. Gang of thieves with heights of the century. Mother Nature's the star in a documentary. Sharks and more sharks, snakes and critters. Got bedroom eyes, baby, come hit her. Ride the planes, the trains, and the automobiles. Here comes Khan, man with a hell of a deal. Princesses and robots and toys come alive. Dinosaurs and zombies and top secret spies. Watching movies every night. Attack.
Welcome back, boys and girls. Hello, how are you? My name is John Horton.
And I am Kyle Pierson, and welcome to our Star Wars edition of Attack of the Spotlight. We're going to talk about the Skywalker saga, the episodes 1 through 9. John just finally saw all the Star Wars episodes. He saw a few, he gave up on them, and apparently I may now officially be known as an influencer, because I think I must have influenced you in some way to watch the other films after we were talking about Grogu the other day.
To be honest, you did.
There I am. I am finally an influencer.
I've thought about it before. I just never did. And then hearing how impassioned you were about Star Wars and how much love and fondness and dreams that you have of Star Wars, it inspired me to take the plunge and watch them all.
All right, so we're going to talk about the 9 films in the Skywalker saga. We are not going to talk about the spin-offs. John has not seen those. We're going to start with episode 1, work our way through them, and just kind of give our 2 cents on what we think of each. No, this is not May the 4th be with you. No, this is not the 50th anniversary. It's just since they're fresh in John's mind, we're jumping in and we're going to knock them out at this bizarre time of the year, just for the sake of doing it, and because Star Wars needs a little push right now. The Mandalorian and Grogu is now officially going to be the lowest grossing Star Wars film in the entire franchise.
Really?
The only thing less is the Clone Wars movie, the animated film that was released. In fact, the difference between the highest grossing Star Wars film, which is currently Star Wars Episode 7, and the Mandalorian and Grogu, there is over a $1 billion difference.
Oh my God.
The grosses of these 2 films. So we're even though we're going to be honest about the films, we're not just here to praise everything. We're not here to trash everything. We're going to give some honest talk about each of these films while they're fresh in John's mind. So, John, let's start with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Now, this one I had seen when it came out in theaters. I've seen all of them except for the last 3 prior to watching the last 3 last week.
Okay.
First time I watched episode 1, not thrilled at all. Did not like the kid. Did not like Jar Jar. I loved the fight scene with Darth Maul at the end. I loved the Duel of the Fates music that accompanied that fight scene. Even Queen Amidala bothered me with those fucking hairstyles. But I sat down and I rewatched it after I watched 7, 8, and 9. In fact, I just finished that episode 1 yesterday.
Okay.
I liked it. I liked it. I
Hmm.
think my problem here, I think my hang up is I go into a movie with certain expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And when the movie does not meet that, I'm hypercritical. But when I revisit it years later, I know what to expect. So I can show more appreciation for it. It's not letting me down. And in fact, when I watched it this time around, Jar Jar didn't even bother me that much. I found him kind of comical in a couple scenes. Still don't like the fucking kid. Still hate that fucking kid. That non-acting little bastard. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. It's not my favorite in the whole series, but I dug it. I didn't want to turn it off or go and bitch about it later on. How about
Okay.
you?
Okay. Well, I talked a little bit about episode 1 before, so I'll try to go over all the same things I did before. But yeah, I was just like everybody else. I prepped for it. I stood in line, bought tickets. I bought tickets for 200 other people as well for a promotion with my website. And I was exhausted by the time I got to the movie initially, anyway. I believe it was a midnight screening,
Oh, good Lord.
um, which did not help. So, because I think it was, yeah, it was 12:01 a.m. That's what it was. It was a 12:01 a.m. screening. And yeah, I remember the audience. The only thing people got excited about was the fact when they said, R2D2's name, and there was no other reaction in that theater the entire time. Not when the thing blew up at the end, not for the pod race, not for anything. And I remember the pod race because it was so late in the first place and it had been a long day. The pod race seemed overly long, which is now longer than it used to be because in new releases, they have extended the pod race. And I think the pod race is actually better now because the scenes they put back in give it a little bit more depth to it and interaction. Because that's what I always liked about the dogfight scene in Star Wars. Um, you're in the cockpit, but they're talking to each other and people are dying and there's reaction. And a lot of the other ones, you don't get the interaction between the people. There's just shoot, 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 pew, 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 that type of thing. And it doesn't feel as dramatic as it was in the first time around. Um, so yeah, with episode 1, it was just, I'm like, what is, and Jar Jar just seemed too silly for me. And I didn't care to see Darth Vader as a kid. And I'm like, okay, I know we have to get to a certain point, but I kept thinking, especially after episodes 2 and 3, because they made 2 different series for the Clone Wars. There was the Clone Wars movie that was actually a pilot for the series. But before that, there was they had done these little 10-minute things and made a volume 1 and volume 2 on DVD of this other Clone Wars animated thing. And I'm like, if you love the Clone Wars so much and it's such an integral part of this story, 2 should have been 1. There should have been a Clone Wars movie and then 3. It's like, why?
Yeah.
The thing that we reference the most and you make the biggest deal out of, why wasn't that a movie? So 1 has always been my least favorite. I do think not only having the podcast scene altered a little bit, that improved.
Pod race
What did I say?
podcast.
Oh, the pod race. The changing Yoda from the initial release, because Yoda they tried to make look younger, and I thought he looked older. He looked like he was, 50 years older than he looked in episode 5. And when they altered him to make him look more like episode 1, or episode 5, I'm like, okay, that is Yoda. That I can get behind. So I think over time, the changes that George Lucas made to the film has improved it. It's still my least favorite of the bunch. Um, Also because you're coming in, and we were Han, Luke, and Leia for so long, and episode one doesn't have any of these characters, and even Obi-Wan is not this Obi-Wan that we know, and even C-3PO and R2-D2 we're getting there. So it just didn't feel like it was part of the universe to me at the time. Now, if you're a kid and you start with episode one, then that's probably what attracts you. The first time you're seeing this type of stuff, and you're like, oh my God, look at all this cool stuff. There's lightsabers and there's these actions. And I can see that if that's what you started with, that's what you liked. But that's not what I started with. So I felt down by episode one, which takes us to Star Wars episode 2, Attack of the Clones. John.
I finished watching that today at work.
Were you focused on it?
Yes, I actually was.
Okay, because
I
if you're not
was getting mad
focused,
when I kept getting interrupted,
okay,
and I had to hit pause. Like, fuck. This one here,
customers.
yeah, I know. This job would be great if it wasn't for the customers. So this one here, I enjoyed this one as well. God damn, I'm trying to remember now. This is why we have to do this thing right now.
I got it.
It was confusing to me though.
Okay, that's probably because you were distracted multiple times.
No. First off, I could have swore, didn't they say in the beginning the mysterious Count Dooku? Didn't they say that somewhere? Like maybe in the scroll or
maybe.
But it's like they know him. It's like Yoda was his he was the Padawan for Yoda, and Sam Jackson knows him. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought he was mysterious.
Well, now I'm going to have to go back. You sure they weren't talking about the Emperor?
No. This during the whole fight between Count Dooku and Yoda, they even say that that he trained under Yoda. I'm just like, that don't make sense. They said he was mysterious. So how do they not? What?
Okay. That might have been a poor choice of words. Because I think it was mysterious to us because Count Dooku was not in episode 1.
I don't know if I buy that explanation.
Because there's already some issues about Anakin not knowing C-3PO when he's the one that built him, but when he built him, he didn't look like he does now, and
right.
But he still called him C-3PO. There's also weird things like C-3PO ran into another robot called C or K-3PO or something like that. It was like, well, that's weird. If they're on this farm community and he just names him C-3PO, and then they just happen to run into another robot that happens almost the exact same name.
Yeah.
Droids. So that's one problem with going backwards.
Right.
Yeah, that's why most films should just go forward. When you try to fill in the gaps, and there's so many gaps to fill,
yeah,
and you want to keep everybody in it, then you're like, okay, how come people, even if you're trying to erase people's memories and, or, droids' memories and all that stuff, you're going to step over yourself at some point.
Right. But even like you said, with the whole Count Dooku mystery and the other thing that I watched some of part 3. I haven't completed it yet.
Oh,
maybe it explains in there.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this now?
Because for part 3, I'm going to do an insert.
Okay.
You're going to give your thoughts on it, and then I'm going to do an insert of my thoughts.
Oh, okay. So
So
the thing that you're going to see up here about episode 3 will be legit. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Um, but okay, so Count Dooku is in charge of the droid army, but he works for Palpatine, who is creating a clone army to fight the droid army. What?
Yeah.
I don't
So
understand what their plan is here.
okay, what it is he's playing both sides of the coin. He's being the nice guy over here and saying, "Okay, there's a war coming. We should be prepared for." And he's instigating the war at the same time. So basically, he's playing both halves to just create havoc within the
Yeah.
galaxy. And in order to protect the good people of the universe, of the galaxy, we need to be in charge. It's kind of like, like uh, when you're paying for protection, it's like,
Right.
okay, you're basically paying to be protected from those people. It's not there's a we'll make sure nobody rips you off. Meanwhile, the people that are supposedly protecting you are the ones really ripping you off. So it's that type of mob mentality. Is like, okay, we're going to put the fear of every this we cannot continue the way we are without me being the leader and being able to protect all of you. And on the other side, he's the one making things worse. So the people will put their trust in him in order to take over everything. So nobody knows what's going on. The people that are on his good side don't know he's bad. And the people on his bad side don't realize that he also is trying to become more powerful than he already is. So it's like, okay, well, I'll be by his side forever. Well, not until something better comes along that'll give him more power, namely, Anakin. So he doesn't care who he kills to get to whatever he needs to be. He just needs everybody to fight each other, and then he can reap the benefits of all of it.
Oh, you put thought
So
into that. Real quick,
I've had decades.
do we have episode 2?
Oh my God, episode
There
2,
you go.
Attack of the Clones.
Now we
I
have to
was gonna
start
do
all over again.
No, originally I was going to have just the Star Wars logo and then not worry about this. But I'm like, no, I've got a few minutes. I'll get all these other elements, and then I forgot to do that. So, oops.
I can get behind Palpatine wanting to have chaos and havoc, but if he's trying to do this and that to do that, it seems like just fucking. You've got a droid army that's under your control, basically. You've got the clone army that's basically under your control. Why the fuck? Tie them together. Then you got an even bigger fucking army.
Well, that's the thing.
And you don't need to be, head senator.
That's you. That's why you have to watch the next one.
Okay.
So
all
it
right,
does.
So more to be revealed in part 3.
Oh yeah,
Episode 3.
yeah. 3 is what really pulls all that together.
Okay.
Because and that's another thing with 2, because 2 we still seem so far away from Darth Vader, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then, are we ready to move on to 3?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
But when we get to 3, things, yes, just wrap up your synopsis of 2, and we'll move to 3.
Okay. I don't really have any other complaints with part 2. I kind of liked the love story. I thought that was kind of cool. I liked seeing the initial beginnings of Anakin starting to go dark with like slaughtering. I can't believe he slaughtered all the Tusken Raiders, including the women, including the children, and didn't get in any trouble for that. You're killing kids. Somebody should have put him in timeout or something. We're taking your saber away from you for a month.
I don't think most people knew what he did. I think only Padme knew,
All right.
and I don't think she shared it. It should have
Nope.
been a red flag.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Oh, you killed all the kids? Maybe not.
yeah.
Okay, we can move on to part 3 unless you have
I
anything. Episode.
I I do have a couple things about episode 2. Episode 2 has both my least favorite scene
Which was?
and one of my two favorite scenes in the same movie. My least favorite scene, and here's another thing. Back in the day, I could tell you every single character in 4, 5, and 6, every planet, every element of 4, 5, and 6, I could tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Once one came along, I started to drift. So there's a creature, and I know people know its name, and they're going to say, Jesus, if you call yourself a Star Wars fan and you don't know it's called a whatever, well, they didn't mention it in the movie, so I don't know, and I didn't want to look it up again. But he's standing on the back of it, and he's riding it like this, and then he falls into the weeds, and and they're rolling around, and it's all lovey-dovey.
Right.
That sequence I thought was ridiculous. It looked fake. It was dumb, and I'm like, okay, why are you slowing down a perfectly good movie? Now, when this was released in IMAX, at the time, not every movie was being released in IMAX. They were trying something new. And the reels, they couldn't get an entire feature film past a certain length in it. So, like, I think Apollo 13 was one, so they had to trim some stuff and make it a little bit shorter so they could put it on IMAX. And the same thing happened with episode 2. And that was one of the scenes they took out. And they took out a lot of stuff that really slowed it down, and it made it a better movie. The only problem with it was when they introduce Owen and Beru, they never say this is Owen and Beru. You're just supposed to assume this is Owen.
Oh, wow.
And
No.
I'm like, that little bit really kind of is important. You should still say who they are.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that made it not a really great edit. I'm like, well, you still screwed up. If you'd left that one little section in it, I would have preferred that one, and that would be the one I would watch over and over again.
Yeah.
But
The IMAX
not,
cut.
and I don't even think you can get it anywhere. But now you can put the whole thing on there. It doesn't matter. My favorite scene is the Yoda fight scene. The theater went freaking crazy
Yeah.
when that happened because, and again, if you're a kid and you're watching the Clone Wars animated series, there's nothing new there. But for us, we're used to this little old guy that's walking around in a cane, and all of a sudden he's like, boom, 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 and you go, oh my God.
Yeah. How?
Yeah. And I loved it. The people were going nuts. And I'm like, this is a Star Wars movie. So after I was so disappointed with 1, and 2 was kind of like, at the beginning, I was going crazy by the time it was over. And I was very satisfied with episode 2 when it was done. And I'm like, okay, now we're back on track.
Wow. See, I didn't like the first time I seen it, I loved the Yoda fight. I was cheering. I had a heart on. I thought it was fucking awesome. This time around, I'm just like, now wait a minute. He's this old, crumpled up little fucking green dude. He's
Yes, of
old.
course.
He's got a walker. He grunts every. And now all of a sudden he's fucking one of these damn shit. What do they call it? Parkour guys jumping off shit and flipping and. No, come on, man.
No, I loved it. Loved it.
And
You're really going to have a problem with 3 then.
All right, let's move on to 3.
Revenge of the Sith.
I've gotten how far have I gotten in this one? I got up to the part where he's telling Yoda about his dreams of her dying in childbirth.
Okay.
And Yoda's like, "Oh, don't read into premonitions." That was more of an old Chinese
I
guy,
was
but
going to say that's more Miyagi than.
up until that point, again, I'm enjoying it. I don't have any complaints at this point, although I still have the whole thing of what the fuck is this? Why are you having a war with the droids when you're controlling the droids and you're controlling the clones? What the fuck are you doing, dude? But as you said,
Yeah.
more shall be revealed, so I
Yeah.
will
Yes. Yeah.
stop
More
right
is
there.
revealed because, yeah, you still have to overcome a major threat to the Emperor. And to do that, you need all of this to happen. So you will find out. Well, you'll know as soon as this edit's made. I'm going to jump in without trying to see. Now is a problem because I can't give away anything. I will say this. Episode 3, I think we move too fast because I'm like, okay, I know we're seeing the beginning of Darth Vader, but still in the beginning of episode 3, Anakin, other than the whole Tusken Raider situation,
Yeah.
um, he's pretty much a decent guy still.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is he wants to protect Padme.
Hmm.
So then when things go south, they go south very quickly.
Yeah.
And the transition happens by that. And I'm like, okay, again, I would have liked if we had gotten rid of episode 1 and started with 2, then we could have had a really good Clone Wars film to flesh more of that out instead. I know
Okay.
they did the series, and I tried to watch the series. I did. I couldn't get into it. Then Rebels, I swear to God, I started watching Rebels, and things kept happening. I'm like, this kind of feels like Aladdin to me. And then
Aladdin?
yeah, and then later it's like the main character, I think Ezra or something, and then they said something about something else. I'm like, this feels like Aladdin. And then somebody talks to him and he says, "You're nothing but a street rat." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Aladdin."
It is.
It's, I'm like, "What the frick is going on here?" So that was it. I was done. I'm like, "Nope." So I didn't watch any of the animated things thinking, okay, because Lucas said this is separate. It's like its own little, it takes place in the whole scheme of things between these and this, but it's not canon. It's the films are this universe and the animated is this universe. And
Okay.
then once um he was no longer involved, they started to merge the two together, and they keep bringing characters from the animateds over to the other one, and we're introducing witches now and time travel, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not Star Wars. It's like, what is
Yeah.
this? I was like, okay, now the Force is such a big deal for a Jedi Knight, but then you have these witches over here, and time travel to me is the one thing that separated Star Wars and Star Trek. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this one can time travel all the hell you want, this one can't, and now they've kind of blurred that line. So anyway, um, that third film, I felt just at the end is like we're just rushed into this way
Mm.
too fast. This transition to Darth Vader, and I would have liked to seen that stretched out more. Um,
Okay.
just because at that point you realize this is what this whole trilogy is about. So you really want to see more of that. And I'm like, well, how long did we spend with this little kid
Yeah, no shit.
when we should have been over here? And that was my
Yeah, if they would have
issue.
cut out part 1 completely, they
Yeah.
could have easily picked up with him already. And the whole thing with the mini chlorine.
Midi chlorians.
Yeah, the mini chlorine. I don't know what pools have to do with Star Wars.
Yeah, that was another thing that people were like, we're going from, this supernatural
Spiritual thing to
spiritual force. Well, there's stuff in your blood, and I think they were going to address that more in the sequels, but they decided to drop it.
yeah.
Um,
It's the only time you hear about it, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
It's just in episode 1.
yeah, they really, yeah, they kind of brought it up, and then like, kind of like Jar Jar. They thought Jar Jar was going to be huge. Then in the second one, they cut him out a lot, and in the third one, basically they just okay, yeah, nice, keep going. They just totally blow him off, and I felt bad for Ahmed Best who played the character because he was so excited, but he actually came back in the series as a Jedi and kicked some ass for a little bit. So
That's cool.
So they gave him an opportunity to do something else. So I was like, all right, that's cool, and he's loved now. You go to the Star Wars stuff. Oh my, the prequels now for that generation are the episodes 4 through 6 of ours. Those are the 3 they love. 4, 5, and 6 they think is too slow, and they absolutely can't stand 7, 8, 9 because it's not close enough to what 1, 2, and 3 are about. so it's interesting to see, and probably 20 years from now, 7, 8, 9 will be fine, and then they'll be pissed about 10, 11, 12, which is probably what they're going to have to do at this point to, if the spinoffs aren't working, they're going to have to try something.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and I don't like Vader screaming at the end of episode 3. I hate that. I hate no.
Oh,
I hated that.
Yeah,
I get it, but he sounds so fucking stupid.
What's stranger, and I don't know if you've in episode 6 now, and I think maybe since then they took it back out because Lucas keeps tampering with the movie, and at one point when he throws the Emperor down the shaft, he does it again. He's like, no, you're like, no, or something. And you're like, okay, that didn't seem necessary, especially when we're used to something. But we'll dissect the special edition. Have you seen the special editions?
Probably not. Of which ones?
4, 5, and 6? Yeah. Well, the thing is,
I probably did, but I don't remember.
Yeah, because they keep changing. I mean, there's been so many different versions of 4 already.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're going to have his view of episode 3 because he'll have just left to watch the rest of it and come back. And now, what's your review, John?
All right, so I finally watched the rest of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and I got to say, this is probably my 3rd favorite in the entire franchise. Obviously, behind Empire and Return of the Jedi. This is probably the darkest one in the entire series, I think. From the killing of all the Jedi that have been training, all the younglings, which I hate that they call them that. I think that's kind of a horrible name. To the betrayal of the Jedi Order, watching them all turn around and get blasted to shit by the clones, to there's what, 2 left? 2 Jedi left? That's all I know of. That's all I got from the show, just Obi-Wan and Yoda. I mean, there may be more, but I don't follow the other series. I don't watch the cartoons. I don't watch the webisodes or the fan films or read the books or follow up on the podcast. I don't know. For me, there's 2 fuckers left. And of course, the birth of Darth Vader. Good God. You don't get much darker than that. The end fight scene, the end battle, the duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin, epic. Just fucking epic. That's the best lightsaber fight scene I've seen in any of them. Take my money. That was better than Yoda going hippity hop around the barbershop. That was better than Darth Maul. That was better than Grievous. I mean, that was just an amazing fucking fight scene. Partially because of the location. I mean, in a volcano, that's pretty badass. there's not a lot that I can really complain or fault this movie with. I know Kyle talked about how he felt like it moved too fast, and I don't really question that a lot. The dark side had its thorns in young Anakin for quite a while. Maybe once he actually attacked a Jedi, maybe that's what turned him the rest way. Maybe it was like once you pop the pimple, it all just bleeds out. I don't know. I don't know how the dark side works. That's not. I'm not. I don't know the Force. Okay, I don't. I'm not a Jedi. I'm not a Dark Knight. I'm not none of that shit. So I don't know how the dark side of the Force works. But maybe he did some bad thing and it just just grew exponentially. I don't know. In any case, I really dug this movie. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I really liked the when they turned, and I understand now. I understand why the Palpatine guy was running both sides so he could get full control of the Senate. It was pretty fucked up that he turned on everyone that was an ally on the robot side. But yeah, it's really fucking good. I like this one. I'm not a big fan of the music though. The fight scene, what was it? Battle of the Heroes, I think is what the song was titled. I think John Williams has got one good song outside of the original trilogy, the parts 4, 5, and 6. I think outside of that, he has one good song in each of the movies. The first one was obviously Duel of the Fates. This one was Battle of Heroes. In the episode 2, I think it was the Bounty Hunter Zem, where they were chasing her. I think that was some pretty goddamn good music. But really, I mean, I liked it. That's what I'm trying to tell you is I liked it. I dug it. I don't know what the general consensus is of this movie, but I liked it. I still do not like the no. I hate that with a fucking passion. But that is my only complaint. And if that's your only complaint with the movie, that's a pretty goddamn good movie, I'd say. We're going to get on with the rest of the trilogy here. Oh, by the way, I am about halfway through Rogue One, so I'm enjoying Rogue One. I might actually have to, after I finish Rogue One, jump right into episodes 4, 5, and 6. I mean, why not? I complete the whole series out. Let me know, by the way, if there's any recommendations you guys have for any other movies. I'm kind of interested in watching that Andor mini series that they had after what I've seen of Rogue One. I think that might be interesting. But let me know in the comments what your favorite non-Skywalker timeline story was. Yeah, you know what I mean. Let's move on with the rest of we now return you to our regularly scheduled program. Okay. Blasphemy time.
Okay.
I'm going to piss some people off with this one.
Here we go.
This is my least favorite out of the entire 9 episodes.
Really?
Yes. Now, it wasn't the case when it first came out, and this will always hold a very special place because I have such fond memories of that first experience and my whole childhood with this.
Mm-hmm.
It has become my least favorite, however, more in my young adult years, whatever, because, God, Luke Skywalker's a fucking whiny bitch. And he annoyed the ever-loving fuck out of me. He annoyed me to the point where it's become my least favorite. I like everything else about it, but if Skywalker had not been such a little fucking whiny bitch, I would have this still at my number 1 slot.
How is he more whiny than Anakin was when he was complaining about the sand?
That wasn't that bad, though. I mean, that's like one line throughout the whole fucking movie. Luke is whining about everything.
No.
Yes.
No.
He is whiny as fuck.
No.
I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to do this. Oh, I want to go over there. Shut up. You all right there, Kyle?
Yeah, you. Good thing is water. Wow.
Yeah, he spoiled
Wow.
he spoiled the whole thing for me in my later years.
Really?
Yeah.
I noticed it more later. And then that was kind of why, because when I go back and watch like two and three, I never felt the chemistry that everybody said with Hayden and Portman. I never thought I never felt that as much. And I was like, okay, he always seems so he was either whiny, but he never really seemed like he had that much personality. And I'm like, well,
Because
this
he can't
guy is
act.
also the guy that turns into Darth Vader. Darth Vader doesn't have a personality. he
Yeah, no
doesn't
shit.
he doesn't crack jokes. He doesn't do it. So he shouldn't be a wise cracking guy here, or he's got to be somewhat the same character that he turns into. So I went back and like, okay, so I gave him more credit because I kept thinking, I'm like, he doesn't seem like as good an actor as I thought he should be. And then I'm like, well, you know what? I don't think it's necessarily his acting; it's the directing. He's probably been told, like, okay, you know, you can't be a suave guy because you're going to be in this damn helmet for the rest of your life
Right.
without ever saying anything suave. So, it'd be funnier if Han Solo was the one that ended up in the so that would be a whole nother take on the story.
Oh yes.
Um, but I kept looking at that and I'm like, okay, so and then he's whiny. So you see that this is kind of where Luke is at the same time, and which actually goes into episode 8 a little bit, because a lot of people didn't like the direction Luke went in episode 8. And I'm like, well, how is it much of a difference between what happened in episodes 1 through 3 with Anakin? It's the same type of thing, except I can also see him, Luke, because they have the same sequence 3 different times with him and Kylo. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. Oh well, no, maybe it was like this. No, it wasn't like that either. What really happened was this, which I
Yeah.
hated in its own way because I'm like, okay, get on with it. Um,
Right.
but I could also see him like, the the guy is somewhat responsible, or in part responsible for the destruction of 3 planets of people. So I could see why you might consider killing Hitler when he's younger.
Right.
so so it's that type of thing where it might cross your mind and say, okay, no, I shouldn't, and then then all of a sudden you're in this predicament.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as completely against that as
Right.
other people have been, because I'm like, okay, given the circumstances and how many years have separated and whatever the hell may have happened between the time that we saw Luke in Jedi and the time we saw Luke in, things have happened. So I
Mhm.
forgave that, especially when you look at what happened to the other one and the fact that he didn't go through with anything. Like if he had
Right.
gone through with it, I'm like, oh, okay, now you really have turned Luke. But I could kind of see we're like, you know what? We're going to have a problem with this kid,
Yeah,
and I could
exactly.
solve all this right now.
Mhm.
And all those years later, like, Jesus Christ, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this anymore. This is enough is enough. So I kind of, I didn't have that was like the least of my problems with episode 8, and that's like the biggest problem for a lot of people. So anyway, back to your blasphemous take on episode 4. Um, this is my second favorite.
Second
Uh,
favorite. Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Never
yeah,
mind. Empire.
Empire is my favorite. This is the one that got me liking movies in the first place. This is what made me want to be an actor. I had Star Wars everything. I have Star Wars everything now. um, I I loved it. I loved the fact that one of the things we complained about with Grogu was it's pretty much the same type of sequence of events over and over. And this one is every scene is totally different. Between the dogfights and the trash compactor and the lightsabers and there's just so many different elements. There's nothing to get bored with, even though I know a lot of people, the younger generation, like, why is this lightsaber so compared to
Yeah,
I
exactly.
get that. I understand it.
Right.
I see why that you would think that, but for us, it was the first time we saw it,
Yeah, it was
so that's
fucking
all we
awesome.
needed, and it was awesome. And yeah, he's whiny, but he's young, and I think there was a the original cut, I guess, was a lot slower, and there was more of him and his friends. Actually, the beginning starts out with
Oh
him
yeah.
looking up, and he's, they're like, "Oh my god, my friends, check it out." So that they take that cool intro with the stuff, the spaceships, and then they broke that apart over the sequence with what was happening on the planet. And I'm glad they said, screw all that. Let's just get to this battle and C-3PO and R2 and then just get on with it. So it could have been worse, but
Yeah. Well, didn't he have like a friend named Dax or Dacker or Decker or some shit?
Dax is in Empire. He's the one that's behind him, I think, in the snow speeder. But he had Biggs, and
Maybe that
Biggs
was
that,
it. Maybe that's what I'm
yeah.
thinking of.
In episode 4, they put one of the scenes back in. They didn't put all of his scenes back in, but they put one of the scenes where they're talking a little bit more, so you can see that there really is this camaraderie between him and Biggs. And there's a variety of scenes um, that they've done. Now, as far as the special editions go, there's a lot of changes that were made for 4, 5, and 6, but the one that still kills everybody is the frickin' Han shoots first bit. because
Right. Yeah.
Greedo didn't shoot at all. He didn't have time. Han pulls the
Exactly.
gun out, bam, and and I think I may have mentioned this, but I don't know if I did. I was hosting this special edition. We had tickets, we were giving it away on our TV station. And I made a trailer for the fact that we had tickets for the special edition
Right.
of episode 4. And they gave me all this footage to use. But while I'm writing it, I'm like, okay. And I remember I'm like, oh, this will be cool. I was like, and we have this, and blah blah blah, watch this, and the new Star Wars is coming out and we have the tickets. And I'm like, oh, there's a scene in episode 4 where Han goes, yes, I bet you have, and then he shoots Greedo. Well, that wasn't in the footage they sent me, but I'm like,
Yeah.
well, they're not going to take it out. So I went and I grabbed it off of my copy and I
Mm.
edited it in there, and we played it every hour on the hour for a week
Oh
leading up
man.
to the damn movie.
Holy
So
shit.
we're reinforcing to the community how funny this scene is.
And it's not even there.
And it's not even in there. And the audience is like, what the hell they changed that? And I'm like, I'm sure it was been bad anyway, because everyone's talking about it. But the fact that I on television
Oh my God, Kyle.
reinforce the fact that this is the way it should have been
Mhm.
over and over and over.
I am
I
surprised Lucas didn't come after your ass.
I was like, oh, dumbass. And I was like, that's why you don't do that. That's why you use what they give you. But I thought it was it seems so innocent, and it made for a great promo.
Yeah.
I wish I still had. If I can find it on, if I posted it on Facebook, I'll put a link to it in the description. Um, I may have. If not, I got to find it. But yeah, I really screwed the pooch for
Yeah.
that one. So yeah, of the 3 special editions, that one little shot, and he's changed it every time he released it. He changed it, like, okay, let's have the shot further in, let's have the shot closer, let's have them maybe shoot at the exact same time, and like, just put it back the way it was.
Exactly. What the fuck?
Because I know he's like, well, I don't want him to kill somebody in cold blood. I'm like, okay, he has a gun on him, shoot the bastard. It's not like
Exactly.
he's just having a bad conversation and he pulls out a gun and shoots the guy. He has a gun on him. If somebody has a gun on me and I have a gun under the table, I'm shooting that fucker before.
Goddamn right.
So I don't understand. But he didn't have any problem with the guy with the sword and Indiana Jones shooting him. Didn't have a problem with him. And he was way
Exactly.
down there. He could have just turned around and ran. But the other guy had a gun right across the table. And not only that, when he has this and he shoots him, he misses. How the hell do you miss from 3 feet away? So anyway, episode 4, the original version, which will be re-released in theaters next year for the first time in years. That's the version of episode 4 that's my second favorite film of all time.
I might have to go and see that.
Yeah, it'll be worth it.
Even though it's my least favorite, it would be nice to. I do still like it.
I think maybe because I saw it in a theater with 2,000 people once. It was in a huge historic theater.
Wow.
They showed it in the sold out 2,000 people. And it was the most emotional film I think I've ever sat in from a nostalgia aspect. I'm like, it's just because everyone's laughing at the same spots and everyone's getting into it. And you're like, and it took me back to 1977. And they did the same thing for It's a Wonderful Life for Christmas. And my wife was like, oh, we don't, it's Christmas and we're really busy and the tickets are expensive. I'm like, no, because it's her favorite film. And like, you have to go. And I said, trust me. And it's not, and I've kind of developed a liking to the film, but at that point, I'd only ever slept through it. I think that was the first time I got all the way to the end of the damn movie.
God.
But I knew it was going to be a big deal for her. And she did the same thing. She came out and she's like, oh my God, it was so emotional. She's like, I'm like, I told you. I says, there's something about this atmosphere. So yeah, when 4 comes back out, it may turn you back to your youth.
Well,
maybe I can influence you once again.
Maybe.
So you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right, you talk. I'm thirsty.
Well, we probably don't even really need to say much about Empire because it is the best one in the series. I would probably say it's a damn near perfect Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything I would change in it at all.
Yeah, no, and this one is interesting because even with the special edition changes that they made, I don't think they ever hurt the film. They did enhance it, I think. I think every scene that they made an alteration to help tell the story. They've added some stuff in Bespin where instead of them being in closed areas, they're more out. You see how big everything is. They added a couple of scenes with the Wampa that wasn't necessary, but I don't think it hurt it either way.
Right.
And I think, they, and then they changed the Emperor to the actual, Ian McDermott, because somebody else had played the character before. If I was that person, I would be freaking furious. Yeah, no I would be, if that's what my, I'm like, one of these
days. Better cut me a big fucking check.
Exactly. I'm like, one of these days, because that's still been my goal. I'm like, if I can get to a Star Wars film, I don't care if it's the worst one they ever made. I don't care if it's a extra that's on for one frame in one of the TV series. If I can become part of the Star Wars universe, that is my end goal. I can retire. I'll be done. All the stuff I've tried to do, I would officially be done. That's my goal. And then I thought about, I'm like, until they decide to alter it and then put somebody else in my place. In your spot. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not cool. So yeah, I felt bad about that, but from a aesthetic aspect, it makes it flow more with the other 2 films, the way it is. Actually, I do have another thing for episode 4. There was that whole thing with Jabba, when they put Jabba the Hutt in it.
I hated that.
Yeah, and they had him step on his tail, and then they altered that a little bit, and they kept changing the way he looks. Somebody made a fan edit where it's instead of him being there, he's a hologram, and that way Han could walk right through him instead of stepping on his tail, and he just walked through them. And when he walked behind him, they had it because they used the same footage where he goes, ah, they just cut it. So it's like they had a glitch in the hologram. So he walks around and just glitches out and he walks back around. That fan edit is brilliant. I, I think that that was the perfect way to have done that scene. And if I was going to keep episode 4 the way it was, I'd still, Han's scene needs to go, back the way it normal. If you're going to keep a special edition, I would put the Han Solo scene back the way it was. But I would put that hologram idea in there because that actually fixed a couple issues all at the exact same time and was a pretty good idea. So kudos to whoever did that.
I'll have to look that up. That sounds cool.
Yeah, and I think you can see just that scene. So you can just look like a Jabba hologram in fan edit, and you'll be able to find it. Oh, and if I'll stick it on the description if I can find it.
Perfect.
There we go. So anyway, back to Empire Strikes Back. Fantastic film, possibly one of the best films ever made.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
enough said.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Everybody loves it. Again, I understand if you started with episode 1, this movie doesn't tell you anything new because you know everything that happens in it almost ahead of time. So I can understand why this movie wouldn't be as impressionable to you as it was to us, who had to wait 3 years to find out what happened to our favorite characters. So we will move now to Return of the Jedi.
Again, I enjoyed this one a lot. This ranks high on my list of favorites. I know the Ewoks were put in for like cuteness appeal and to sell fuzzy toys, probably, but they did not bother me at all. I really don't have anything negative to say about this one either. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think. No, not really. I like the speeders. The speeders are fucking cool.
Yeah,
and they're doing the speeder chase through the forest. They killed off Boba Fett in this one, didn't they?
Yeah. Well,
I haven't watched any spin-offs.
They did until a couple of years ago. And well, the comic book he survived anyway.
Oh, okay.
And so I kind of blew all the comic books off. I'm like, no, he's not. He's dead. And Lucas said, no, he's, for films, he's dead. Well, then they brought him back. He climbed out. So,
okay.
And then they decided we're going to do a series with him instead of going back in time, because none of these are in order in the first place. We'll have it go forward where he gets out, but he's not going to be a bounty hunter anymore. He's going to be a completely different character. he's going to do stuff. He's not a bounty hunter anymore. It
sounds stupid.
Because what's weird is they made 2 series. And again, I'm like, okay, they're going to make a live action Star Wars series, thinking that it was going to be the Star Wars people. And then they did The Mandalorian, which is, another take on, Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a success. So they're like, okay, let's do a Boba Fett. And I'm like, well, you already have The Mandalorian. Seems odd now to do a Boba Fett. Why didn't you just do Boba Fett in the first place?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a little strange. And then they do Boba Fett, and they're like, okay, we'll have him come out. So he's actually still alive, but he's not going to be a bounty hunter. Now he's going to, kind of run the town or something.
Oh, what? He's a fucking mayor?
Almost. He's
oh my God, are you serious?
It's not a mayor, he's more like a, kingpin or something. I don't know. It's just
sounds horrible.
But then what's weird is then the Mandalorian and Grogu show up in the Boba Fett show, and like there's an episode or 2 where it's really almost just them. So, and something major happens there So unless you watch that, because people, I'm sure, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Mandalorian ended, and Grogu goes off with Luke,
Mhm.
and then in the Boba Fett show, Grogu comes back. so
Okay.
so the resolution you had in that series now is wiped out, and now there's this new thing going on over here. Or Luke was in. I don't remember anymore. They meshed together too much. But I'm like, well, now you got to watch this series to understand the movie because it doesn't make any sense. I honestly don't remember the order, and I'm sure somebody will correct me. Again, this is at one point nobody could correct me in Star Wars because I knew damn where everything.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Now it's so big and it's all over the place. I'm like, and I really have other things to worry about. so, but yeah, so it's really strange. So yeah, we thought he was dead. He's not dead. He crawls out.
Yeah. I would probably say episode 4, not 4, 6.
6.
God, it gets confusing sometimes. Return of the Jedi is probably my second favorite out of the whole batch.
Okay.
I think it had a lot of cool set pieces, like the rescue of Han, the skiffs over the Sarlacc pit was cool as fuck. Um, Endor was cool. There's just a lot of it that I really liked.
Yeah. So
Oh,
6 is my third favorite. It's 5, 4, 6. It's just staying with the original trilogy. I liked everything you're saying about it. This is another one where the special edition made some interesting changes. They took out a couple really popular songs, like the end credits are different. When we're in Jabba's palace, they changed the song. I like both of them, so I like the new one. I like the old one too. I
did they put
don't.
more clothes on Leia?
No,
Okay, then I'm fine with
no,
it.
yeah, no. She's exactly the same way. Um, so 6, I don't have a problem, with the special edition. It flows more into 1, 2, and 3, especially the finale with the fireworks, because you see all these other areas where things have happened.
Yeah.
Which I think again has been altered since then to add more even. Um, Even when they released the 4K version of Star Wars, they added an additional line before they shot Han.
Oh my God, can he just not leave the fucking shit alone?
No, but now he has no ownership over. So now it's done.
Okay,
There'll be
thank
no
God.
more unless Disney starts doing that. But Disney's not typically known for they'll. Oh, I say that. I think there's 3 different versions of Beauty and the Beast, or I
Oh
don't know.
God.
But anyway, I think they're done messing with those.
I hope so. I don't
So
like it when they do that.
yeah. So, but yeah, I can go with either version of Return of the Jedi. Doesn't matter. So I prefer the Empire Strikes Back one the way it is now, just because of the way it feels aesthetic. 4, I'd rather watch the original the way it was before it
Right.
was Episode 4, A New Hope. just just Star Wars, and then yeah, Return of the Jedi. So that takes us to Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
I didn't think I was going to like it because I just heard so much. I heard so much negative about the 7, 8, and 9. It seems like all I heard was negative and bitching. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I liked the character of Finn. I thought that was a pretty unique character. I didn't think I was going to like him. So like
Mm-hmm.
a stormtrooper? Oh, a former stormtrooper? No, that's stupid. What good's he going to be? They can't hit anything anyway. Oh,
Have you seen the meme with the stormtroopers? And they said we're
probably.
we're back from a day of paintball. but they're completely clean.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
See, a lot of people I heard were complaining about this one because it was so much like Episode 4, A New Hope. I heard that comparison a lot. And Star Wars has got a lot, not just here, they've got a lot of repeat shit. So I don't really look at this one as being a remake of part one. It's taking elements that have already been done, which is what a lot of the Star Wars films do. Luke gets his hand cut off, so we're going to cut off Anakin's arm at the elbow. They got a Death Star here, so we're going to have a Death Star planet. And they do a lot of that, so it doesn't bother me. I like the characters. I kind of dig Kylo. I thought Kylo was pretty cool. I didn't like, even though I knew it was coming, because Facebook, and it's been how long since this has come out?
A while.
I was bound to see it someplace in the 10 years that it's been out or whatever it is. I was shocked by the death of Han Solo. I was very shocked by that. And I was shocked throughout the course of these three movies that Kylo could get any forgiveness from anybody for killing fucking Han Solo. I mean, no, he should be forever in hell for that. you know?
I hear
the way
you.
he did it just goes up like he's going to hug the guy and then right through him.
Yeah.
You shithead.
Yeah. And that's when I thought we were on the right track, because that was the emotional reaction. I mean, in the theater, people were like, you could hear it just, like, whoa, and I knew that they were probably going to kill him off because he wanted to be killed off before.
Right. Did he?
Yeah. Harrison Ford wanted to be killed off before. He wanted to be a sacrifice in Star Wars previously. And the reason why he was in Carbonite to begin with was the fact that they didn't know if they were going to get him back for episode 6. So he may have been killed off if they hadn't worked out the deal. And then he wanted to die. And when I go back and watch 6, he's a very thin character in 6. He really, even in 5, 4 he's fun. 5 you really start to feel for the guy, and then he's being tortured and all this stuff. You're like, good Lord. And then 6, he really is kind of like a side character almost. They do a little stuff with him, and he's trying to, hotwire the thing, and it's just they didn't do as much with him as possible that I remembered. It just seemed like he was such a big character to me, and watching 7 felt like, okay, this is a better way to end it for him anyway, because and I know people were upset, were like, well, we never got our Luke, Leia, and Han moment, and I would have liked that, but they knew they were going to probably only get Harrison for one film, so they're like, okay, this is going to be his film. Mark will have his film. Harrison's going to have this one. And we're going to focus on Harrison. And he's in a lot of it. He brings a lot to it.
Yeah.
And that death scene, just killed me. I was like, oh no. And I knew he was going to die. But yeah, you still hope that maybe that's not really what's going to happen. Right. And then that's what happened.
Well, I knew 100% for a fact.
You knew,
and it still punched me in the gut. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. And I agree with, this is a scene for scene remake of the 4. It is. I mean, there's so many elements from 4 that's in this one. But like you're saying, we've already seen 2, Death Stars. So what's the difference between and even Han makes the thing. He's like, well, we just blow it up, that's what we do. So it's like, all right, we've got to have a big dramatic ending. So this is what it's going to be.
That's one of the things that I question about the intelligence of the Empire. You can have a shield around a big old Star Destroyer. You can have a shield around the Death Star. Why the fuck can't you put a shield around that one little thing, that tiny little thing that someone has to shoot to blow up the whole fucking mess?
Oh, for the Star Wars, the first one.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
okay,
well,
they got to shoot the reactor. Put a fucking shield around it. Shit.
well. There's that's why you need to see Rogue One.
Okay.
So that actually is the big thing about Rogue One.
Is it really?
Yes,
Okay.
that resolves that one piece.
Okay.
And
I will
and
watch that one.
yeah, it as far as sequels go, that's the best one. Or prequels, that is the best prequel.
Okay.
Better than 1, 2, and 3. Rogue One, and it goes right into episode 4. I mean, it ends, and the next scene is boom, episode 4. We're
Wow.
there, and it is in the beginning. It doesn't feel right. Again, they're taking characters from the animated stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, here we go.
You don't like cartoons, do you?
I don't mind cartoons, but I didn't feel like it was the same vibe as you know. You know what spoiled me? The real Ghostbusters. The real Ghostbusters felt like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it did.
Every time when I watch it, I'm like, this is Ghostbusters. I can see this as the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And then they did Slimer in the real Ghostbusters, and then it started to fall apart. Like, oh crap, here we go. Because it started getting sillier and it got cheaper. They quit doing the ghost insignia with the ghost in it. It was just a circle with a line through it. And I'm like, okay, they're getting cheaper. Wow. They're getting, this is on its way out. And then they had Extreme Ghostbusters and whatever. And at that point, I had already been tainted. But real Ghostbusters, up until that point, I thought was really well done.
Yeah, it's probably the best cartoon adaptation of all time.
Yeah, I loved it. And the one I didn't watch, which probably may have been better, was the Star Trek animated series, because I've seen bits of the Star Trek animated series, and I'm like, well, that looks like Star Trek.
Yeah.
And a lot of shows, when they go animated, they, like Mork and Mindy, they added this dog that separated into 3 pieces, and
yeah,
they get cheesy. They're like, okay, it doesn't have the same feel. But with the Star Wars one, I'm like, okay, I'd already seen, the Ewoks, and actually the droids was pretty good. But I had trouble, especially, the whole baby, the Jabba's kid that they rescued the first time. Yeah, I tried watching them, and some of them were actually pretty good. I did enjoy them, and I guess they get better. I never took the time for it to get better.
Right.
But the Ahsoka series is they say you don't have to watch the other ones, the animated, to see it. And I watched it. I'm like, you know what? I think I did because I'm lost. So yeah, watch Rogue One for sure. The Solo series movie is all right, but you see how he ran the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, and that type of thing. But there's 2 things I have a problem with that. One, there's a cliffhanger ending somewhat, because they thought they were going to make 2 more. It didn't make as much money as they expected, so now they're not doing that, but now they're going to have a Lando series, and the Lando series is going to be a spinoff of this. And I'm like, well, if you're just resolve whatever.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, and there's like another series that had a cliffhanger that they keep doing these, and then they're canceling them. And I'm like, well, if you're going to keep canceling things and not resolving them, I'm not going to watch them until the series is over, because I'm going to wait to find out if it actually is going to end,
right?
Because they're starting to spoil it ahead of time. But Rogue One, like I said, it starts off and you don't know who the characters are, and it feels a little off. But then there's a certain point, and then immediately it feels like Star Wars. And then the rest of it is really awesome. I mean, it is good. Yeah. And you're like, okay. And then the end there's a Darth Vader sequence in I'm like, that is Darth Vader. Like, holy cow, this is a Darth Vader I haven't seen. And it's so yeah, definitely check that out because it does solve the plot hole for episode 4
Okay.
that I didn't even really think that much about until I was watching the Family Guy parodies of it.
Oh my God. Fucking Family Guy.
Did you see the parodies?
No, I don't watch Family Guy. I don't like Family Guy.
The Star Wars, they're very funny, especially the first one, because Stewie's in there because the Stewie I think plays Darth Vader, and he's like are we so the everything's fine, nothing we need to worry about with the Death Star. And they're like, well, there is this little issue. And they're like, but nothing to really worry about. And he goes, oh, wait a minute. What's the issue? No, it's not. No, you said there was an issue. He goes, well, it is possible that if somebody shoots the exhaust port, the whole thing could blow up or something. And he goes, well, can't we do something about it? Put a little plywood or something over there. Like, well, it actually costs us some money. Well, and it's and the scene where they shoot this thing out of the laser out of the
Yeah.
Death Star, and you see the two guys there, and so in their version, the two guys are sitting there like, somebody could have bought a rail for us right here because this is not very safe because they're just sitting there putting the space, and you're like all these little things you don't really think about because they're drawing it. They're like, what, this doesn't make sense. So if you get a chance, because it doesn't, you don't need to watch the series. That was the only episode of. That's what got me watching Family Guy. Was the parody. I had never watched an episode of Family Guy until I watched
Wow.
the 3 Star Wars things, and then I started watching Family Guy. So check
If
those
it's
out.
Star Wars,
Yeah, if it's Star Wars, I'm watching it.
you used to
So-
get the fucking cereal too, didn't you?
I got the cereal. I kept the box for a long time. I had the Star Wars glasses from Burger King.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, I've still.
I like the
got
Star Trek
a
ones
couple of them.
better.
Really?
I don't remember who did them, but they had Star Trek glasses, but they were cool because it was glass and it had like 2 rims along the bottom. So it came down, but it had these outer rims that went around the bottom. They were really cool. Look them up, Google
Seems like
them.
if you're gonna have outer rims, it would be Star Wars because there's the outer rim.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. I wonder whose
Okay,
job
well,
it
maybe
was.
rim
I wonder
is not
whose job it was to do the rim. So, episode 7, we both liked, even though it's very close to the first film. We enjoyed it. Moving on to The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi for me was a little slow. I thought I don't have a problem with all the scenes with Luke and all the scenes with Kylo and her with her vision thing. But for me, it kind of slowed things down a little bit. I did really like the whole concept, how a good portion of the movie was the rebels running from the Star Destroyers and staying just far enough ahead of them that their shots couldn't damage the rebel ships. I liked it. I thought that was kind of cool, the whole little chase they had. And that one had the big battle on the salt planet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that. That was pretty cool. I thought it was kind of cheesy when Mark Hamill showed up and they shot the ever living fuck out of him, and he was just like a mind projection. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cheap. I wanted to see him like just come walking out there like, yeah, fuck you guys, you can't touch this. But no, other than that, I enjoyed this one too. Not too many problems.
This one is my second to the worst.
Oh,
Just above episode 1. Of the 9, anyway. Same thing. Very slow. Part of it's actually about trying to get gas. And they're like, okay,
Well,
this whole movie's going to be about getting fuel. Okay, we send Finn out to find somebody who he doesn't find.
mm,
Um, we have what could have been a dramatic death for Leia, and then somebody
yeah.
who died. Carrie Fisher died.
During this
So
movie?
yeah, so after it was complete, and I'm like, well, I would have re-edited that and just killed her because one, I think it would have been more dramatic
Yeah.
had she died right there in front of Kylo. And because you also have the whole issue with um people are, Mace Windu flies out a window and he's missing an arm, but he's one of the most powerful Jedi there are. Leia is not as powerful of a Jedi, but she can't survive. She can survive the space, but he supposedly could not. I'm
Right.
sure one day he's going to come back. They all come back.
I hope not.
but but when we brought back Leia, I'm like, she's dead. Why would you do that? Bring her back and then kill off Luke. And like, at that point, because editing wise, you stop it where she flies out the thing, done in that scene. And then instead of doing the effect of Luke's cloak falling down, you chop that up so it never falls down. So he's alive. So Mark carries on to the next one and Leia doesn't. I know they didn't want to change whatever it was they originally wrote, but just from a practicality standpoint, that would have made more sense
Right.
to me. Um, and the fact that we also spent like an hour not training Ray. We go through all the trouble to find,
Exactly.
and I'm like, we're not training Ray. We're not finding the guy we're looking for. This is not the Last Jedi because we have this kid with the broom at the end.
Yeah.
It's like you kill off the person alive, you keep the person alive that's dead. So to me, the last thing in my mind was the Luke thing. The only thing I didn't like about the Luke thing was the fact that we had to see the same sequence 3 different times. Like, okay, it felt like Clue. Well, this didn't happen. This happened. Well, this didn't happen. This. I'm like,
Yeah.
So now you could do whatever the hell you wanted and just say there was another interpretation.
Right.
And so my only defense for this one is Rian Johnson. I know is a good director. He did Knives Out. He did the finale of Breaking Bad. And this is the one because, and I said, the Grogu thing. I'm like, I blame Kathleen Kennedy for any bad Star Wars movies and TV shows. Like I blame Steven Spielberg for the bad Transformers movies. He didn't write them, didn't direct them. He produced them. He gave them the material they needed, and then whatever happened, happened. If it was Kathleen Kennedy or whoever's idea it was to say, let's make a trilogy, but have a different person write and direct each one.
Yeah.
That I don't understand. I could see where you say, okay, you can do your trilogy, or you can do your spinoff movie, or you can do this and this. I don't get the idea of we're going to have a different person do it. And Rian had the worst one because, like, okay, you don't get to start it, nor do you get to end it. You're the bridge in the middle.
Yeah. You're
you
filler.
have to wait until we figure out who the characters are going to be. Then you got to take them over, but you can't end it.
You can't
Somebody
kill
else has
nobody.
got it. Yeah. And then he kills Snoke. And I'm like, well, now who are you going to have in the next one? Which leads to another issue that people have with the next one. And they're like, what the hell was the mindset here?
Hmm.
So And then people can say, okay, well, Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi are all directed by different people. Yes, but George Lucas wrote or co-wrote all three of them,
Uh-huh.
and he was there all the time. He was involved in every single aspect of those
Yeah.
films. So there was no connection for the next three. J.J. Abrams was involved to a point, but he really did seven, left it alone, and then had to come back and do nine when the director of nine bailed
Hmm.
or got fired, whatever the hell happened with that. But
Whatever
either
story
way,
you wish to believe.
yeah, whichever happened. But either way, it was a bad position to be in, and it just felt like literally we have to drag this out to get from seven to nine because you could
Yeah.
almost take eight out, and other than the fact that Luke died, there's no
Yeah, the story doesn't really get furthered very much, does it?
no, there's nothing there. There really isn't. You could, if the, other than that one aspect, you could jump from one to the next and it wouldn't matter almost. So, or other than they get Rose or you know the girl that's with Finn, but
Right.
that's a whole other
The,
thing.
the one thing I did not care for with this one was the humor. I thought some of the humor was rather
Forced.
overly silly and childish. I mean, I'm down with having all of the Star Wars have had some degree of humor.
Yeah.
This one seemed a little bit more excessive and borderline. Like I think like when the Porgs are sitting there watching Chewie about ready to eat one that he cooked, and he's I'm like, okay, that's kind of
I like that. But there was a line or two where it's like they're trying to make Poe funnier or something. Because I didn't mind, like in the first one, like the first line, Poe says like, "Are you going to talk first or me?" like, and it's because it was so dark that scene.
right.
It was also good to see, these troopers be, able to shoot.
Yeah,
So you're like, all right, now we're getting serious here. No more screwing around. We're burning up shit. We're shooting shit. Um, so I thought the humor in that one was better. I like the little thing with BB-8 did the thumbs up with the lighter, and then
yeah,
yeah, nine. I can't even remember what it was specifically in eight, but yeah, it felt like there was you know. And there's the thing where Finn was strapped to the table, and he gets up and he's got all the thing, and it just felt like also they didn't know what to do with his character as much. It's just everything just kind of fell out of whack, and then he killed off Snoke, and I'm like, it felt again like part of the problems I have with 1, 2, and 3. You killed off Maul and you killed off Grievous, and you keep everyone comes on there for a little bit, and boom, they're dead, and then they like
right. And let's grab the next villain of the week.
yeah, and Darth Vader carried on. We had Darth Vader and the Emperor for boom, 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 and then now it's like everyone we have to kill somebody off, and Dooku, and yeah, it's just it was it just felt like one too many. Like, okay, this would have been the nice character to carry on, and I think maybe that was the original point. I don't know, but that's how yeah, eight just felt like you could really drop it and it wouldn't have mattered. And now
Yeah,
we're into episode 9, The
all right.
Rise
This
of
one.
Skywalker.
Did they? Was it always a plan to bring back Palpatine? Palpatine.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think so. Because one, I know when George said it, he's like, no, he died. When he fell down the thing, he died. In my mind, when JJ brought in Snoke was going to be the guy all the way to the end, but he got cut in half in the
Yeah.
eighth. So the thing is, okay, we either bring in another new villain or we have to bring back an old one. So we either put piece back together because at this point we've cut Maul in half, and we cut Snoke in
Snoke in
half,
here.
and they brought back uh, Maul in a variety of different things because Maul, he's the one that I told you about. They had him on. He had spider legs for a while, and then he had droid legs,
Oh, for
whatever.
fuck's sake.
Exactly, and that's and what really pisses me off. This
What
is
the
another thing
fuck?
I don't get. The fans, which I have always thought I was one, a lot of a lot of fans don't seem to have a problem with the Darth Maul surviving scenario, but they have a problem with the Emperor coming back. And I'm like, well, both of them died the exact same way, but one of them was cut in half and the other one wasn't. So if any one of these two is coming back, it
Yeah,
would be the much more powerful with the Force guy that's not cut in half. That's the one
right.
I'm going to think could possibly pull this off. So I didn't love the fact that we brought back a character that even George Lucas said, no, he's freaking dead.
Hmm.
But I also, after them killing Snoke, I don't know where else you could have gone to resolve, because this isn't just the end of the trilogy. The thought was this is really going to be the end of the whole series.
Right.
So it would make sense we bring back the guy that we orchestrated this whole thing to begin with.
Yeah.
So, and I know the explanation also pisses people off because they say somehow he came back. Not a great explanation.
Right.
And and there's theory. I guess there was something that he said something like, "I'm more." I don't know what. There's some line that he said where you're like, okay, he must be a clone, or they made a bunch of clones and none of them had the right. They weren't the proper clones, so he's the closest clone they could get to, or I don't know.
I
There,
don't
there,
recall that.
yeah, there's supposedly a very long cut of this film out there somewhere that I would
Long
love to
enough.
see, just to if it explains a few things. Because they also, I guess it's in a book, but they never in film explained how Maz got Luke's lightsaber. Because last we saw Luke's lightsaber, it
Yeah.
fell and all of a sudden she's got it. That's a story for another time. I do love JJ, but he likes to set up stuff. I
Yep.
also prefer if it's also resolved.
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, I like all the mystery. That's the thing about Empires. You have so much mystery, but we also answered all those questions. And this one didn't, but at the same time, not only does he no longer have a character to really kill off other than uh, Kylo himself, but Leia's alive. So then he went back and used the footage that they shot from episode 7 to use her in episode 9. So then he was also limited to the lines she said that were deleted from episode 7 in order to dictate what she does in episode 9, which also dictates some of what happens with the story. So given these, and Luke's now dead, so he didn't
Hmm.
have him, which he probably
Right.
in his mind thought was going to make it. So I think if JJ had control of all three films, writing and directing, it would have been cohesive. Or even Ryan. I think if Ryan had the whole thing, maybe it would have been he could have started it and ended it. But
Right.
and I can understand, if I was Kyle when he had the opportunity to do the ninth one, I don't think I would have wanted it. So I'm like, oh man, I got to figure that it was a
What
mess
a
at that.
fucking mess.
Yeah, so and even the way 7 was going, kind of 8 just kind of went in its own tangent. So I think under the circumstances, 9 is a pretty good film given the obstacles it had to overcome
Mhm.
It's not a great film. It's not one of my favorites. I like it better than 8. Um,
Yeah.
for sure. I probably like it better than, I don't know. That and 3 are kind of depends on my mood, I guess. Um, but there's a lot of it that I do like, and there's some
Hmm.
things that I wish were a different way. But
Right.
yeah, and the fact that they're also trying to hit a deadline. They're like, we're going to have these movies, boom, boom, boom. But I was the problem that I had, and I knew this was a bad sign because they also there was a delay, and um, the Han Solo movie, and 2 movies were back to back, like 5 months apart, so that also hurts the box office. But the 8th cliffhanger going into 9 was not very dramatic, like Empire was into Jedi.
Yeah.
The same year we had Infinity War going into Endgame,
God,
and
that
for
was
the
fucking.
exactly, and
Yeah.
that was the first time that I was more excited about another movie than I
Than a
was
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars. I'm like, this is the end of Star Wars. This could be the end.
Mhm.
Or we have an Avengers movie. And I'm like, man, the one if there's like, you're only going to ever get to see one, it was going to be the Avengers movie. Because I'm like, that
Wow.
one, I really got to see how the hell they pull this one off.
Yeah, that was
Because,
good.
because I, 8 just didn't leave anything pulling me in. And I'm
Right.
like, that is not a good sign. And what was the bad sign for Grogu was the fact that I'm more excited to watch Spaceballs 2 than I was to see The Mandalorian. Because I'm like, and I thought, there was episodes of the series that were more exciting than the actual film. And I'm like, well, this is not,
Wow.
yeah, this is something has happened.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because, yeah, and again, I went to the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser and had the time of my life. I've been to a Star Wars celebration. I'm going to the 50th anniversary celebration next year. I spent a lot of money on this series. I love Star Wars. I'm a big fan,
Mhm.
but overall, you're not going to like every element. I
No,
don't
no,
think there's
never.
a series of films that I like every single one. You know, there's ones that are like, the Avengers. I like a lot of Avengers movies, but there's a couple I'm like, well, I can do without, the first Thor or there's a
Yeah.
couple, like, all right, if I never see the Eternals again, it's not the end of the world. You know, it,
Right.
there's none of them I hate, but there's definitely ones I like more than others.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But again, there's people that absolutely love Mandalorian. There was that one kid that was sitting in front of me that was quoting episode 1, and absolutely love Jar Jar. I'm like, good, we're all part of the same family. We can all enjoy different things.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't, I would never trash Star Wars. I would just say, okay, this particular film was for you. Just like episode 4. The fact that that's your least favorite, okay, from a lot of people, it's their absolute favorite.
Right.
So, but we're all watching the movies and we're all,
Yeah.
so it's interesting.
I can say that I'm still a fan of Star Wars. Because I enjoyed watching these new ones. I'm enjoying rewatching the original 3, or not the original 3, but the first 3.
Yeah.
This one here, I haven't really didn't really say much about episode 9. I did not want to see the Emperor come back, but I did kind of like part of the reasoning where he basically like resurrected himself. I like that it's kind of like necromancy. And I like that, you know, I wish they would have done more, but all the troops that he had there, were those like real people or were those raised up dead people? What were
Well,
the Knights
that,
of Ren? They didn't really do much with the Knights of Ren. And I thought,
yeah. And
you made
there's
a
talk
point
about
to
doing,
name. these soldiers a special name, but he didn't really do anything with them.
Well, that's another thing. We were talking about maybe, doing a movie or a series with them. Like we keep going forward and backward and sideways and jumping around, and it's so, I like the lore, but again, what was cool about the original trilogy was you took elements of these Jedi, and you take these elements from these, Wookiees, and you got just all these different elements, and you take the best of them and you put them in one movie. And now what we're doing is we're splitting those apart and only doing pieces of them.
Right.
And because originally Star Wars at one point was going to be about Wookiees. That was going to be the big part of it.
Wow.
And when he was going to make the whole thing was that with all the new technology is normal more primitive beings can still beat technology. So when he got to Return of the Jedi, originally the idea was Wookiees. That was supposed to be Ewoks. But by then, they've established that the Wookiees weren't as primitive as they originally designed them to be. So then he's like, okay, I need something else. So he's like, well, what if we do the opposite? And we'll do like Chewbacca, but instead of super tall, he'll be super short. Instead of long hair, he has short hair. And that's exactly what he said.
Wow.
So he ended up selling teddy bears, but the idea was he just needed a replacement for Chewbacca.
Wow.
And that's how it all came to be. And a lot of people didn't like the Ewoks. I never had a problem with the Ewoks.
No, I never had a problem with them.
I had a problem way more with Jar Jar than I ever had with the Ewoks. So I used to watch the Ewoks cartoon. And I watched both Ewoks TV movies. So
not I. I'm not that huge a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, no,
I used to be.
Yeah, I used to watch it all. I mean, I've Star Wars Holiday Special, the worst.
You, as such a huge Star Wars fan, maybe you can explain one thing to me about the 7, 8, and 9.
I can try.
Why does it seem like there's no time to travel in these movies? It's like, okay, you've got at the end of part 1, Rey goes off to find the planet that Luke's on.
Mm-hmm.
She leaves, and then she's there. I mean, this is like lickety splickety.
Well, I think there was a long time we just didn't see that because
they didn't even really imply that with events in the going on with everybody else. And in part 9, they go into this huge battle, and Lando has somehow managed to get from there all the way out to the Outer Rim, get all these people together, and get back before the fucking battle's even over. I'm like, holy shit, do they have like fucking like ludicrous speed? Are they going plaid?
You're thinking of things that haven't occurred to me. I don't know.
That really stood out to me is the fact that they travel.
The first one that doesn't bother me at all. They were going to leave, and I don't want to sit there watching her eat cereal while the ship's flying. So she leaves, and then we're there. So that's if it was on TV, that's where the commercial break would go, and then we come back and they're there. So that doesn't bother me.
But it doesn't feel like anything changed, even if it was a period of like let's say even a month.
I don't think it's a month. It's hypers. I don't think they're going that far.
Well, that was a huge fucking map.
Yeah,
that thing was like
they're going the speed of light, half past the speed of light.
It just seems like they should have. I don't know. I don't feel like they. I feel like they went down the street to the gas station or the grocery store. It felt like
they definitely didn't go to the gas station because half the freaking movie is them trying to get gas. That was 8. So you and I definitely focus on different things.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What about the
Interesting.
Lando thing?
I don't know. I don't even remember.
Because I don't remember exactly,
I
but
think
I
that's the
feel like
movie
he
I've seen the
left just
least, just
before they
because
went
it's
to
the
the
newest.
planet.
I don't remember.
And
Because
how
yeah,
the
that's what. Go
fuck did
ahead.
he get all them people?
Email.
What?
Email. He just is out there. I don't know.
Gmail.com.
I don't know. But yeah, definitely see Rogue One. And
I
the
will.
solo movie is fun. It's different. It's it just doesn't have an adequate ending, but it's different. It's
All
it's
right.
uh it's you know it,
What about the series? Any of them worth watching?
The Mandalorian is good, but yeah, it's well, Grogu is cute as hell.
Well,
That
yeah.
that little Grogu, that's what makes me like that movie more than Episode 1, because at least Grogu's in it, so he's cute. I didn't watch Skeleton Crew because at that point I was really getting discouraged, because there's the Acolyte. I fell asleep in that. That's the one with these witches.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what is this? Um,
See, I didn't even know that
Ahsoka.
was part of the Star Wars
Yeah, that's part
anything.
of Star Wars. Ahsoka. They said you do not have to watch the damn animated series, and then said, well, maybe you should watch this episode. And the next thing I know, they're like, well, here's a list of episodes you should watch. And I'm like, okay. Um, and and I saw it without. See, I did actually watch the episodes they said, and that's
Right.
that's what they had the time travel stuff in it. And I'm like, what is this? And it's not like they go back in time. They're kind of like in this go between thing. They're walking on like this celestial sidewalk,
Oh my God.
and they can interact. It's
Hmm.
weird. And it's just kind of like their way of connecting to the original story, because you can hear quotes from the original movies and stuff, and it's this nostalgia way of tying in, but it just seems like it didn't fit to me. So it
Right.
made me less interested in watching the series, but I watched the series anyway, and it just seems so slow. Because there's this, Ahsoka's this, young Padawan. Well, now she's not anymore. She's Rosario Dawson, um, who kicks ass in the role. She's excellent in the role. But most of the time, she's just standing there, talking, and there's not really a lot going on. And then we bring back the
Yeah.
Aladdin character, and I'm like, okay, now he's got a beard, it looks more like Jesus, and like just and there's these other characters and stuff going on, and I'm like, I and I just realized that I'm old. I'm not.
You, you
It's
just
it
realized that?
yeah, the baton has been tossed, handed out. I have still got my favorites. I've still watched the movies when they come out. The next one I'm actually looking more forward to, the Star Wars Starfighter with Ryan Gosling. That I like. Plus, I like Ryan Gosling a lot. And that's
Hmm.
not going to be tied in. But not having it tied in doesn't necessarily help, because I think they're trying to say, well, we're going to tell our own stories, but they just need some more plot.
Yeah.
And that was the problem that I had with the Mandalorian. There was just them fighting monsters over and over again. so so I had it, yeah. So, but again, other people like it, so I'm like, all right, that's good.
Hey,
We're all on the same page.
yeah.
Fantastic.
And we don't need to have hate.
No. I
No,
said,
there's no room for that. That's one of the
no.
things that killed me about the guy who played Jar Jar is that guy was on the verge of suicide because all the hate he got for Jar Jar.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I'm like,
people
that's
were
fucking
really,
sad.
yeah. I mean, it's a movie, people,
Yeah,
and I know people because you want a fan base and you want people to be excited about it, but you're gonna have to, even when the same George Lucas made one, two, three, four, five, six, and I have extremely different opinions
yeah,
about from each of those movies.
mm,
And same with the five Indiana Joneses. He didn't do the fifth one. He did the first four, but there's a huge difference between the first three and the fourth one. And like,
yeah,
okay, but again, time had passed, so you got to do things different way. But you can have the exact same team make the exact same set of movies, and you do it different ways, and they come out different. And you hit
right.
gold sometimes, and you don't. You look at Star Trek. Star Trek has been a roller coaster for ever since the first film came out. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
that was a 3-year series that was canceled for years that somehow got resurrected into a movie that wasn't popular and still managed to, have a
spawn
really
how many
good,
sequels and how many
yeah,
spin-off shows and
yeah. I mean, they had a really, they got lucky with having a kick-ass sequel to
yeah,
both the movie and the series because
mm,
both, really kept things going, and now it's all over the place.
yeah.
But yeah, the same with Avengers. People are like, oh my god, I absolutely hate She-Hulk. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, it's a different show for a different set of people.
Yeah,
That's that's what's fun about bringing them all together at the big conclusion, because like, oh, my favorite's here. Well, my favorite's here. Well, my favorite's here. And they're all fighting together. And instead of like, oh my God, this I don't like this one. Okay, well, there's 25 other ones.
yeah.
That's fine. There's gonna be ones you like. You're not gonna like everyone. They're all
Right.
done by different people. They're all telling a different story.
And if you don't like, you don't have to hate on people that do like. You don't have to try to start a fucking the one that kills me is start a fucking petition to have the film remade or to have the director fired. What
Yeah.
the who the fuck are you people?
Yeah. Like, everyone is trying their best to nobody tries to make a bad movie
Exactly.
ever. Some people have more resources than others, but everybody's like, okay, this is, and I've made stuff because I made a lot of commercials. And I have in my head, this is how this commercial is going to be. And I know it's just a commercial, but I'm the one writing it, I direct it, I edit it, I did a lot of stuff. And at the end, I'm like, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I could have done that. And then I've had people come up and say, did you think about doing this? I'm like, I did. As a matter of fact, I did think of that. I couldn't do anything about it, but yeah. So I agree with what you're saying. Couldn't do anything about it. Or later they'll say, well, it'd have been funny if you did this. Like, oh, you're right. That's brilliant. But you're never, and that's the one thing where I would defend George Lucas in the whole changing episode 4 over and over again. Even though to me it's a great movie, don't freaking touch it.
Right.
And he keeps touching it. It reminds me of never mind.
Are you
You don't.
saying George Lucas has a problem with chronic masturbation?
What I'm saying is that if there was something he wanted to do originally and he couldn't do it, and then time came by and he's like, oh, I have the chance and the ability to do it, and it's been gnawing at me all these years to have not been able to do what I wanted to do, and I can fix it, then why shouldn't he be able to go back and fix it? I don't necessarily agree with the changes he made,
Right.
but as the guy who made it, I also can, I've done things. I'm like, you know what? If I could go back and change that, I wish I could. And they're like, oh, go ahead and do it. Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Is it?
Boom.
Yeah.
Ah, now I'm happy. And then everybody starts pitching at you. What the hell did you do that for? And I know there's a big difference between a commercial that people on purposely avoid and a movie everybody absolutely loves and cares about. But I come at it that way. Just I'm like, okay, I've been in a position where I wish I could change something I've done.
Same here.
Yeah, and it's always going to be that way. I watch these episodes back, and I'm like, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I say that?
Same
What
here.
the fuck did I say that for? That's a stupid. I don't even realize. I'm like, what the hell did I say that? That makes no sense.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
speaking of bad things, what was
Oh.
it I said
Huh?
on the Bigfoot?
All you just said was, what is I? Speaking of not so bad, I said, "Oh,
Okay.
that's not so bad." He goes, "Speaking of not so bad, there's a Bigfoot." I was like, how does that? I, I I should have told him. I should have texted him because if that ends up in there, I'm going to be like, "Oh my god, why did you keep that in there?" He's not going to keep that
Probably
in.
will.
We talked for way too long. He's only probably going to have. It's probably going to be 8 seconds. It's going to be, oh, there's a Bigfoot chop, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, really?
Which will still be 8 seconds longer than I'm in most of the stuff I've done.
I'll be 8 second. What'd you say?
8 seconds longer than most of the movie stuff
Oh, okay.
I've done, including things I've paid for, which I'm still talking about movie. Oh my lord.
All
So
right. Well, I
anyway,
think that wraps up our Star Wars recaps, except for episode 3, which I'll get into after I finish watching it and slide that sucker right in there.
okay. And then maybe later on we'll have the reviews of the spin-offs if you
I
see
doubt it.
those. All
I
right.
don't think I'm going to invest that much time into those. I'm happy with the continuity or whatever you want to call it,
I think
this
yes.
timeline.
Skip Grogu, skip Solo, watch Rogue One just so you see how that ties in with the Death Star exhaust port.
That one I will watch. But as far as all the others, the series and the Book of Fett or
Yeah,
Boba
yeah, yeah,
Fett's
yeah.
book,
You don't need any of those.
I don't.
But Rogue One, and again, it's going to start off, and you're like, no, this is. I don't know if I want to keep watching it because, and then there's some characters that are really, really good in this. There are some really cool, and then because there's no actual force and lightsabers, there's another character though that kind of encompasses that anyway, and it's an awesome character. And there was talk about maybe spinning that one off, and I'm like, if you spin that character off, I'm watching that series because that character was awesome.
Right.
So trust me, and it's fun. It's also got a really fun droid in it. So Rogue
right.
One, you will not be disappointed. I promise you.
All right.
All
Next
right.
time on our show, we'll be talking about Rogue One. And maybe an upcoming episode. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
do that as a 30-second or a 60-second spot review or
There,
something.
there you go. There you go.
The Return of the
Rogue
Living
One.
Dead.
Yeah, it's the one that keys out because it's in green. You've not seen this. It's got the different
It's pretty cool.
images that they've used over the years. So
Dig it.
update
like
on that. They're almost wrapped. Rebirth of the Living Dead.
I thought they did wrap.
No, I think there's one more day. At least there's at least one more day. At least one more day. But I think there might be a few more days because they stopped and then they resumed. There's going to be a
Right.
trailer next week already. And then I think they're going to be wrapping up Trash's Revenge any day now. And I reached
Really?
out, yeah, because they started again on May 31st, because I remember because it was my birthday. And they were already halfway through that film. So I'm not sure how much longer they've got to go, but that one should be wrapping up soon as well. And then I found another contact for Steve Walsh for Return of the Living Dead, the Christmas one. And I still have not gotten any replies whatsoever.
Wow.
We're not interested, not a go fuck yourself. Not we'll get back to you later. Not we'd love to, but we can't right now. Nothing. Not a
Wow.
single solitary reply in the 3 different directions I've gone through. So hopefully, and I've seen no updates for
Yeah,
the
me
film
neither.
itself from cast nor crew nor anybody. So if they're out there, we haven't seen them yet, but the other 2 are getting wrapped up as we speak. And yeah, expect we'll as soon as the trailer is released for Rebirth next week, we will share it on our Facebook page, and we'll add it to our trailer section on our Attack of the Spotlight YouTube page. I'm also going to add the Star Wars Holiday Special. If it's not already there, I'm going to add that. So if you want to see the Star Wars Holiday Special, go check that out. And then all the Star Wars movies, if you want to buy them, we'll provide a link to them at our Attack of the Spotlight store. That'll be in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description below. Anything else?
Nah, I'm good, man.
All right.
I think we did it.
All right. I think if it hasn't already, we'll have an episode coming up on good, bad movies. These are movies that, for some reason, aren't that well produced, maybe, but we think are still worth a watch, and we're going to recommend them anyway. So if it's not coming soon, we may have already done it, but keep an eye out for that episode. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on all of your favorite podcast services. For John Horton, I'm Kyle Pierson. Thanks for watching Attack of the Spotlight, and may the Force be with you.